All right, today we're going to dive into a classic Aesop fable. Now, it's an ancient story, yeah? It's about a war between mice and weasels, but trust me, its lesson on leadership and ego has never, ever been more relevant. So let's get right into it. Let me just start by asking you a question right off the bat. Think about your job title, maybe your car, your public image, all those things that kind of signal you've made it. Are you absolutely sure they're assets, or could they secretly be a trap? To figure that out, we need to take a trip way back, about 2,600 years, to a story that serves as this incredibly powerful warning about the vanity that can come with leadership. So picture this. You've got the mice and the weasels, and they're locked in this constant, brutal war. And every single time, the mice just get completely crushed. I mean, the weasels aren't just winning. They're literally carrying off mice for dinner. It's a total disaster for the mouse population. So, the mice get together for this desperate meeting. And what do they conclude? The problem isn't their strategy or their numbers. No. They decide it's a lack of leadership. So they appoint a whole new group of generals, picking them from their most prominent, well-known members. And what's the very first thing these new leaders do? To make sure everyone knows they're in charge, they create these big, fancy, ornate headdresses. They were absolutely determined to look the part of a leader. So, with their new generals proudly wearing their crests, the mice march out and challenge the weasels again. The weasels, of course, are more than happy to fight, and, well, the result is exactly the same. The mouse army is immediately overwhelmed and just scatters in absolute terror. Now, the regular soldiers, the ones without any fancy decorations, they do what mice do best. They dash for cover and slip right into their little narrow holes, totally safe from danger. But here's the twist, and it is a brutal one. The generals run to the very same holes, but they can't get in. Their lofty crests, the symbols of their grand new authority, get stuck in the openings. The weasels capture every single one. So what on earth went wrong here? This isn't just a story about a bad day on the battlefields, not at all. It's a really powerful look at what we can call the paradox of pride. And believe me, it is just as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. The fatal flaw of these mouse generals was something we could call superficial leadership. It's this dangerous belief that if you put on the costume of a leader, the crests, the titles, the ornaments, that you somehow actually become a leader. They mistook the symbol for the substance. And this just nails the core paradox perfectly. The more the generals tried to distinguish themselves to gain status, the more they cut themselves off from the one practical thing that kept everybody else safe, the ability to escape. Their status literally became a prison. So this brings us right back to that first question, but let's rephrase it a bit. Are the choices you're making designed for actual effectiveness, or are they really about maintaining an image? Is your ego prioritizing being seen over being safe? Okay, let's bring this into the modern world, because these lofty crests and narrow holes aren't just things in fables. They're all around us every single day, hiding in plain sight. I mean, we see this trap everywhere. Personally, it's the person who won't downsize their lifestyle during a financial crunch because they're worried about their image. Interpersonally, it's that wall of pride that stops someone from just saying, hey, I need some help. And professionally, it's the executive who's so attached to perks and titles that their company fails to adapt to huge market changes. It's the same trap every single time. The crucial takeaway here is this. When a real crisis hits, the universe does not care about your job title or your fancy car. It only respects your ability to adapt. Utility will always, always trump ornamentation. So, how do we avoid the fate of the mouse generals? Well, the fable actually gives us the answer. The escape route is found in the wisdom to be small. This story presents a fundamental choice. On one side, you've got the lofty crest. That's pride, status, and dangerous vanity. On the other side, you've got the narrow hole. Humility, adaptability, survival. The generals chose the crest, the soldiers chose the hole. One path leads to capture, the other leads to safety. To help really internalize this lesson, here are a few growth mantras. I absolutely love this one. I do not let my ego outgrow my escape routes. That is so powerful, right? It's all about making sure your ability to survive and adapt is never, ever blocked by the symbols you carry around. So let's end on this final thought. True strength isn't about being the biggest or the most decorated person in the room. As this ancient fable shows us so clearly,
True wisdom is knowing exactly when it's time to be small so you can survive to fight another day.